Okay, gentlemen, we left off at chapter 5 in Hosea. Remember, we started Hosea last week, and again, an interesting story because God has asked him to do something very, very unusual, very strange, marry a prostitute. Another strange thing is that God named all the children, and each of the names of those children had a specific meaning, and it was prophetic. The third child was very prophetic. Finally, Hosea realized that this was not his child. And again, God uses Hosea as an example. God sees himself as married to Israel. Israel has been committing adultery. And again, God is fed up with it. Now, he uses the analogy of an adulterous marriage to describe his people. So finally, God says, I've had enough. Now, you got to figure, this has been going on for a while. Now Hosea is in a marriage, he's on his third child, and now he sends Hosea out to send this message, and the message is not good. God said, this is what I am going to do. But then with every message, there's also that prophecy that God says, it will end sometime. I will bring you back, but you're going to have to go through a bit. So it left off chapter 5. Let's begin at chapter 5, about the impending judgment. And keep in mind too, Judah and Israel are separate right now. So you got the nation of Israel, you have the nation of Judah, and most of this is level against the nation of Israel. Hear this, O priest. Take heed, O house of Israel. Give ear, O house of the king. For yours is the judgment, because you have been a snare to Mizpah, a net spread in Tabor. The revolters are deeply involved in slaughter, though I rebuke them all. I know Ephraim. Israel is not hidden from me. For now, O Ephraim, you commit harlotry, Israel is defiled. They do not direct their deeds toward turning to their God, for the spirit of harlotry is in their midst. They do not know the Lord. The pride of Israel testifies to his face. Therefore Israel and Ephraim stumble in their iniquity. Judah also stumbles with them. With their flocks and herds, they shall go to seek the Lord, but they will not find him. He has withdrawn himself from them. They have dealt treacherously with the Lord, for they have begotten pagan children. Now a new moon shall devour them and their heritage. Blow the ram's horn in Gibeah, the trumpet in Ramah. Cry aloud in Beth-aven. Look behind you, O Benjamin. Ephraim shall be desolate in the day of rebuke. Among the tribes of Israel I make known what is sure. The princes of Judah are like those who remove a landmark. I will pour out my wrath on them like water. Ephraim is oppressed and broken in judgment, because he willingly walked by human precept. Therefore I will be to Ephraim like a moth, to the house of Judah like a rottenness. When Ephraim saw his sickness, and Judah saw his wound, then Ephraim went to Assyria and sent to King Jerob. Yet he cannot cure you, nor heal you of your wound. For I will be like a lion to Ephraim, and a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I, will tear them and go away. I will take them away, and no one shall rescue. I will return again to my place, till they acknowledge their offense. Then will they seek my face in their affliction, and they will diligently seek me. These are not idle words, okay? God says, listen, I'm leaving. I'm leaving you guys. You committed adultery to me. You see your wickedness, you admit you're wrong, so instead of to come to me, you go to these wicked nations. And then you got children of paganism, and so he really leveled them here. Says they're oppressed, therefore I'm up. Like, okay, verse 11, because he willingly walked by human precept. And again, if it feels good, you do it. As long as I enjoy it, why not? Who are you to tell me what I should do or should not do? My own conscience. And people use this as an excuse today. Well, I don't feel guilty about it. And if it was wrong, I think God would convict me of it. I feel no conviction. Well, your conscience is not your guide all the time. Because consciences can be defiled, they can be deceived, they can be very deceitful, because conscience is based upon our emotions. And we should never go by our emotions. We've talked about this before. Too many people talk about, well, I feel like, well, it's not always about our feelings. And I've heard this over and over. I feel like God wants me to do this, or I feel God is speaking to me. And a lot of times, in my experience, that wasn't God. They just had a feeling. And so they attribute it to God, and a lot of times it's wrong. And a lot of people start questioning God. And last year or so, I've heard this a couple of times. People questioning because I said, I know God told me to do this. God told me this was going to happen. Well, how come it didn't happen? Well, the point is, obviously, it wasn't God. Because God does not lie. Therefore, it should be a learning experience. But for a lot of people, they will back away from God because in their mind, God didn't keep his promise. I think I shared this story before. A lady in my church that was part of this group, name it, claim it, and all that. And she had a son that was seriously disabled. I forget what it was. Had to wear the helmet. Could hardly walk. But she would declare up and down, he's healed. Because she spoke it. All you're seeing is what the devil wants you to see. He's really healed. Well, after a couple of years of this, she began to realize he wasn't healed, but God told her he was. So she completely backslid and joined the gay movement. And here is a woman whose husband was on my board. His father was a retired pastor in my church. And yet she just went up the other direction. I remember many times telling, well, if you only name it, Pastor, you can claim it. That was so full. Whatever you speak out in God's name, God has got to do it for you. So there's this philosophy that God has to do everything I want, which is still being preached on television.
If that were the case, nobody would die.
Yeah. And the problem is we have people in the church that watch some of these people. A couple of women preachers, a couple of men, and every once in a while somebody, hey, did you hear what this so-and-so said or preached? They go, no. You know who they are, huh? Well, I do know who they are, but I don't listen to them. Well, you need to listen to them. I'm not going to listen to them. I mean, a lot of it's false gospel, but it makes people feel good. And so again, what they're saying, they are following their own precepts. This means they're basically following their own feelings. Therefore, I feel like this is good for me. It may not be good for you, but it's all right for me. And completely ignoring what God's word has to say. When God forbids something, that's for everybody. It's not just for Greg. And the rest of us are good. It's yeah, Greg, you can't sin, but we can.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. Okay, now go on. The last verse there, he says, I will return again to my place until they acknowledge their offense, and they will seek my face. In their affliction, they will. In other words, God says, I'm going home. But here's the problem. He says, they will find me. They're going to get so low that they're going to come crawling back to me. And that is usually the way, even in Christianity. Sometimes people have got to hit rock bottom. And finally, when they realize you can't go any lower, okay, let's give God a try again. This often happens even in illness. When all the medical field has been tried, okay, let's go to the church and ask God to pray for him. That's not what we should be doing. We should go to God first. Just think of all the medical bills you would save. It's one of the things I always taught my congregation. You're sick, Sunday morning, come forward, we'll anoint you with oil, pray for you. And be surprised how many people were healed. But it's a matter of faith. We have more faith in men than we have in God today. That's a sad thing. And Israel and Judah are now in the same position, trusting on man, doing what feels good. Any questions on that chapter?
I don't have any questions.
No question, Mike? Just keep going. Thank you, sir. Sure. Even though you're wearing a Dallas hat. That's fine. Chapter 6. Okay, this is one of those verses we had to learn in Bible college, okay? Had to memorize. Come, let us return to the Lord, for he is torn, but he will heal us. He is stricken, but he will bind us up. After 2 days, he will revive us. On the third day, he will raise us up, that we may live in his sight. Let us know. Let us pursue the knowledge of the Lord. His going forth is established as the morning. He will come to us like the rain, like the latter and the former rain to the earth. So that first verse there, really come. Who's got another translation on that? I'm reading from the new NIV. What have you got, Lewis?
What verse you want?
Okay, chapter 6, verse 1.
Just,
Which translation?
the NIV.
Okay, NIV.
Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces. He will heal us. He has injured us, but he will bind up our wounds.
Okay, how about the Amplified? Do you have the Amplified?
Yeah. Come and let us return in repentance to the Lord, for he has torn us, but he will heal us. He has wounded us, but he will bandage us.
Okay, here's the whole point. God had just leveled all these things he's going to do. But at the very end, he's like, listen, you come back, I'm going to take care of you. It's like the message to the backslider. It is very difficult to get a backslider to come back to Christ. It is very difficult. But God is sitting, listen, I'm here. Just return. I will heal you. I will restore you, but you have to come. And this, I think, is a lot of people overlook, is that in order for God to intervene in my life, I must first make that invitation. I first must come to him. In anything, you know. If we ignore God, God's going to ignore us. He simply, how do we put it? God is never going to do what I don't want him to do. God never goes anywhere he's not invited. So the problem, the point today, people, all these objections to God. Where was God? Where was God? No, where were you? You know, God isn't in the schools anymore. So don't blame God for mass shootings. God does not create cancers. God is not killing people. Say, well, where was God? Why did he take this person? God's not taking people, you know? So we blame everything on God. This is why we stay away from him. So God says, listen, I'm still here. You come back, and we'll deal with some healings. Okay, verse 4. O Ephraim, what am I going to do to you? Judah, what shall I do to you? Your faithfulness is like a morning cloud. Like the early dew, it goes away. Now, you understand what he's saying here? You know, you're quick to respond, but then you leave. You come and you go, you come and you go. Okay, can you think about a New Testament verse that deals with it? I'll give you a hint, Book of James. What do you say? Don't be like those that are like the waves of the sea, up and down, to and fro. Those kind of people receive nothing from God. So basically, this is what the prophet's saying. You know, you're like early dew. It's there in the morning, but it's gone in the afternoon. It's like the morning clouds. There when you get up, by noon it's gone. So basically, God says you're fickle. I'm not going to deal with fickle people. Verse 5, therefore I have hewn them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. Your judgments are like light that goes forth, for I desire mercy, not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. God says, it's not what you're given, it's your knowledge of me. You know, do all you want, and this goes back again. Salvation is not by works. So God is saying here, what you do is fine, but it's not going to get you closer to me. Okay? Your sacrifices, but it's your knowledge of me that's important. Verse 7. But like men, they transgressed the covenant. There they dealt treacherously with me. Gilead is a city of evildoers, defiled with blood, as bands of robbers lie in wait for a man, so the company of priests murder on the way to Shechem. Surely they commit lewdness. I've seen a horrible thing in the house of Israel. There is harlotry of Ephraim. Israel is defiled. Also, O Judah, a harvest is appointed for you when I return the captivities of my people. There's a harvest, God says, coming. When I come, and again, this is almost prophetic of the end times. God talks about the harvest, the end time harvest. When I come, there's going to be a reckoning. There's going to be an accountability. And talking about whether it be the great white throne of judgment, whatever going for God, where we have to answer. God says, okay, what's your reason for this? Well, I'm sorry. Your name's not even in the book. Yeah, but look at all the things I've done for you. And this is basically Israel's excuse. We're your people, God. Today, God, I'm a member of Christian Life Center. you can't say, but God says, no, that's everybody. I can't find your name. And a lot of people are going to be deceived when it comes to that point in time when we stand before God, thinking that the church we went to is going to save us, the family we came from, or everything I've done for the church. Lord, do you know how much money I give to the church? I had a guy tell me that one time. You know, he says, in fact, Bruce Webb was with me when he said it. You know, you lose me, you lose all my money. What are you going to do? He says, God doesn't need your money, keep it. Literally shut him up. And the point is, it's not about your money, you know? God doesn't care what you give. It's a matter of your heart. And this is basically what God's dealing with at the same time here. Any questions on chapter 6?
Yes.
Mike?
Just to bother you.
Yeah, that's fine.
After 2 days, he will revive us, and the third day he raises up and shall live in his sight. Now, what event is that?
I'm not sure. My first thought about that was, it's like the resurrection. Okay, let's go. What verse is that?
Verse 2.
I
Okay.
think it's more false hope. If you just go, you shouldn't take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
We won't suffer too long. It's more like that.
Because you know, because it says he's smitten and he will bind us up. Okay. After 2 days, what event is that? After, like you said, is it the resurrection? If it is the resurrection, why is it a 2 day period? How come it's not?
Don't know. Good question.
Look, you're supposed to know these things.
No, I don't.
Well,
No, it's a very good question. It's something to look up in your commentaries.
what?
I don't know. Honestly, I saw that and I thought, okay, somebody's going to ask about that.
No, but you know it's interesting because I can't even say it's about Christ. Because 2 days, you know,
Yeah.
he's on the cross. You know, he's on the cross. He's in. Well, maybe. He's raised again.
Maybe there was something historically that happened. I don't recall at this point. Yeah, why 2 days, and why the third day?
I would just shut up.
Or is it symbolic of something?
That's it.
And again, how long is a day in God's sight?
That's exactly right. Yeah. See, I need to just shut my mouth because you know.
No. That's a legitimate question. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna actually look that up. Hosea 6. Oh wait. Where were we again?
That was
6:2. That was 6:2. I'm going to see if I can remember to look that up. That's a very valid question. You know what I should do is, I gave all my commentaries to the pastor. I said I'd bring them in, but every once in a while I go look for my commentaries and I go, well, that's right, I gave everything away. But there's enough online research. So some of you think about it, look up Hosea 6:2, and see what you can find. I do have I think I still got one of my Bibles that does have a commentary in it. I'll check when I go home. Okay. What did we just read? 6? Let's go to 7, right? Okay. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was uncovered. Here's the point. Now, Ephraim is part of Israel. God said, I'm ready to take care of them. And suddenly, they continue to sin again. And the wickedness of Samaria, they have committed fraud. The thief comes in. A band of robbers takes spoil outside. They do not consider in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own deeds have surrounded them. They are before my face. They make a king glad with their wickedness and princes with their lies. They are all adulterers. Like an oven heated by a baker, he ceases stirring the fire after kneading the dough until it is leavened. And the day of our king, princes have made him sick and inflamed with wine. He stretched out his hand with scoffers. They prepare their heart like an oven while they lie in wait. Their baker sleeps all night. In the morning it burns like a flaming fire. They are all hot like an oven. They have devoured their judges. All their kings have fallen. There is none among them who calls upon me. Ephraim has mixed himself among the peoples. Ephraim is a cake unturned. Aliens have devoured his strength, but he doesn't know it. Yea, gray hairs are here and there on him, yet he doesn't know it. The pride of Israel testifies to his face, but they do not return to the Lord their God, nor seek him for all this. Essentially what he's saying is they they're dying and they don't even notice it. Kind of reminiscent of the message to the church of Laodicea. You guys are sick, you're naked, you can't see it. Remember that old parable about the king and his nakedness? What was that fable? How does it go? This guy talked him into making him a garment of invisible cloth. And so the king thinks he's dressed in this fancy garment that everybody can see but him as he parades naked. And basically, God's message to Laodicea, and here's you think you're something, but you're nothing. You don't realize you're actually dying. Okay. And in spite of it all, God says, you're not even coming to me. Verse 11, Ephraim, it's like a silly dove without sense. They call to Egypt. They go to Assyria. And wherever they go, I will spread my net on them. I will bring them down like birds of the air. I will chastise them according to their congregation has heard. Woe to them, for they have fled from me. Destruction to them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I redeemed them, yet they spoken lies against me. They did not cry out to me with their heart when they wailed upon their beds. They assembled together for grain and new wine. They rebel against me. Though I disciplined and strengthened their arms, yet they devise evil against me. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword for the cursings of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. Not very pleasant words, huh? Not very pleasant at all.
I gotta go run the machine today.
Okay.
So if it messes up, don't blame me.
Everybody's gonna look at you when you miss.
Stay where you belong, download.
We'll see you later, Mike.
See you later.
Okay, chapter 8. Set the trumpet to your mouth. He shall come like an eagle against the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant, rebelled against my law. Israel will cry to me, my God, we know you. Israel has cast off the good, the enemy will pursue him. They set up kings, but not by me. They made princes, and I didn't acknowledge it. From the silver and gold they made idols for themselves, that they might be cut off. Your calf is rejected, O Samaria. My anger is aroused against them. How long will it be until they attain to innocence? For from Israel is even this. A workman made it, and it is not God. But the calf of Samaria will be broken in pieces. They sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. The stalk has no bud. It shall never produce meal. It should produce aliens, which, if it should produce, aliens would swallow it up. Israel has swallowed it up. Now they are among the Gentiles, like a vessel in which there is no pleasure. For they have gone up to Assyria, like a wild donkey alone by itself. Ephraim has hired lovers. Yes, though they've hired among the nations, now I will gather them. And they shall sorrow a little, because of the burden of the king of princes. Because Ephraim has made many altars for sin. They have become for him altars for sinning. I have written to him the great things of my law, but they have considered a strange thing. For the sacrifices of my offerings, they sacrifice flesh and eat it. But the Lord does not accept them. Now he will remember their iniquity and punish their sin. They shall return to Egypt. For Israel has forgotten his maker and has built temples. Judah also has multiplied fortified cities, but I will send fire upon his cities, and it shall devour his palaces. Again, over and over and over and over again. I got had an idea here. Let's see what kind of internet we've got this morning here. Sometimes I got a good connection, sometimes I don't. Let's see if we can look up that Hosea. Okay, let's see. It's a second here. Let's see if we can find something, commentary online. If you guys have got your phones, you can try to look up something. Well, let's see if we can find something on Hosea. Let's see. Try to find that verse 6, chapter 6, verse 1. You know what? I'm going to shut off the video right now. Well, okay, we're back. I think Mike had a good question. Hosea chapter 6, verse 2. After 2 days he will revive us, and the third day he'll rise us up. I think we're looking at this wrongly. This is Israel talking. What they're saying is, God isn't going to punish that long. Don't worry about it. This is only a short-term thing. So I was thinking God was saying this. God's not saying this. Is Israel coming back to Hosea. Listen, it's not going to be that bad. Give it a day or two, and we're all back in God's grace. And this is where God goes on and on. What am I, like verse 4? What am I going to do with you?
Yeah.
So now God responds. Okay, now we got that. I'll let Mike know. I was not. For some reason, I was thinking this was Hosea saying this, but no, this is Israel coming back. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be that bad. And again, it's probably the philosophy of a lot of people today. Don't worry about it. You know, God will forgive you, and just hang in there.
I'm saved.
Yeah, I'm saved.
I'm saved.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm saved. I'm saved.
So many people say that to me, and I can't believe it. That they should, they should be more mature than. I'm covered by the blood. I can go have an affair.
Yeah.
God will forgive me.
And that is today's
Well, what
philosophy.
happens if you do it and you die?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or
They
what
didn't
happens
get
if
the
you
chance
do
to ask
it in
for
the midst of it? You
Yeah.
And this is the same problem God's dealing with Israel and Judah. They want to be part of God, but God says, I'm sorry, but I got nothing to do with you anymore. You have to come back. And God, and again, going back, God said, you're going to get so low. You're going to hit the bottom, then you're going to call on me. And then we'll see what happens. Let's go one more chapter. Chapter 8.
No,
Oh, no, I'm sorry, 9. Forget where I was there. Okay. Do not rejoice, O Israel, with joy like other peoples. For you have played the harlot against God. You have loved for reward on every threshing floor. The threshing floor and the winepress shall not feed them. The new wine shall fail in her. They shall not dwell in the Lord's land, but Ephraim shall return to Egypt. They shall eat unclean things in Assyria. They shall not offer wine offering to the Lord, nor shall their sacrifices be pleasing. It shall be like bread of mourners to them. All who eat it will be defiled. Their bread shall be for their life. They shall not come into the house of the Lord. What will I do to you in the appointed day, and in the day of the feast of the Lord? For indeed they are gone because of destruction. Egypt shall gather them up. Memphis shall bury them. Nettles shall possess their valuables of silver. Thorns shall be in their tents. The days of punishment have come. The days of recompense have come. Israel knows. The prophet is a fool. The spiritual man is insane because of the greatness of your iniquity and great enmity. The watchman of Ephraim is with my God, but the prophet is a fowler's snare in all his ways. The enmity in the house of God, they are deeply corrupted, as in the days of Gibeon. He will remember their iniquity, he will punish their sins. I found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw your fathers as the first fruits of the fig tree at its first season. But they went to Baal Peor and separated themselves to that shame. They became an abomination like the thing they loved. As for Ephraim, their glory shall fly away like a bird. No birth, no pregnancy, no conception. Though they bring up their children, yet I will bereave them to the last man. Yes, woe to them when I depart from them. Just as I saw Ephraim like Tyre planted in a pleasant place, so Ephraim will bring out his children to the murderer. Give them, O Lord, what will you give? Give them miscarrying womb and dry breast. All their wickedness is in Gilgal, for there I hated them, because of the evil of their deeds. I will drive them from my house. I will love them no more. Their princes are rebellious. Ephraim is stricken. Their root is dried up. They shall bear no fruit. Yeah. Were they to bear children? I will kill the beloved fruit of their womb. My God will cast them away because they did not obey him, and they shall be wanderers among the nations. We're going to kind of cut that off right there. Let me go. We're going to pick up at chapter 10. Any questions on that chapter at all? Pretty straightforward. God is not happy. We're getting the warning us today, we sin, God is always waiting. We don't come back, it's our problem, not his.